So I'm going to kind of dive into, the reasons behind Airman Vision and why I do what I do and why I've done what I've done and why I want to do what I'm doing moving forward. So when I joined, obviously it's a big decision. You don't really know what you're getting into. Like I said earlier, the Air Force has not done a good job about giving information about what you're getting into. And so that's what this channel started out as, but I was just aircraft structural maintenance. I had one job, one path. There's over 100 jobs in the Air Force. And I have since, when I got out of the Air Force in 2019, I went back and I was trying to document and do interviews for other people's jobs. And so on the YouTube channel, I did several, I think 20 some job interviews, which is really good. But it was a lot of work. It took a lot of time. And it's one of those things that I want to continue to do because as I've been going through and looking at Air Force information and content, the Air Force itself does a very bad job about over explaining or diving deep into what somebody's life is like, what their job is like, what their day is like, what it's like to be an airman. They make a lot of highlight reels, a lot of punchy information, a lot of stuff that is literally like, if I were to ask ChatGPT, can you describe this job, right? It would give me a paragraph of like, you're going to do all this. That is how the Air Force makes videos and content, is they take the summary of the job and they have the person that is in that job basically say the summary, and they put video clips of them doing their job over it. Quaz said, can you drop a question here or only in IG? So this right here is for like when people watch this video back, they can shoot a DM on Instagram. But if you're on the live stream, you can drop questions here. And as I go through explaining everything, then I'll jump in and I'll start answering questions from you guys. So the biggest thing that I have noticed is that the Air Force does a decent job about doing that, giving you a summary of what they do. So they'll interview somebody. So it'll be like a day in the life of this airman. They will make videos that are called Day in the Life of a Air Traffic Controller. The video will be 1 minute and 20 seconds long. How do you share a day in the life of someone in their job in 1 minute and 20 seconds? The only way you can do that is if you're not really explaining anything. And that's what I've noticed that the Air Force does. So one of my big goals, like 5-year vision plan for Airman Vision, is to actually step in and become a source for in-depth information for people that are looking to join. I have realized that I have watched, no joke, thousands of public affairs created content over the last 2 weeks, thousands of videos. And like, I'm not joking, like when I say it's an obsession, like, like not going to bed till 7 a.m. because I'm watching videos over and I'm just learning. And I really want to help people. Like, I am absolutely obsessed with helping people make an informed decision and making a better decision. And so the videos that I've done were interviews with people, but I would do them either over the phone or in person, but I would just sit down and ask them questions. I don't have any footage of them actually doing their job. So big plan, right? 5-year plan would be to partner with the Air Force in some capacity and be able to go to different bases and interview different people in different jobs at different bases. So like, say, for instance, I go to Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. I pick 5 jobs that I'm going to interview. So I would typically try to take like 2 days, 3 days to record somebody. Everything they do, sit down, have an interview with them, make like a 45-minute video of them going in depth of all these different things that they do and explain it in depth. Because when somebody is joining, like I was in that position. I know most of you that are joining were in that position. You're like, I don't care if there are 50 hours worth of content on this job. I will watch it if I'm interested in that job. And I think that the demand for information on specific Air Force jobs is there now. So One of the nice things about the Air Force in the military in general is that it's a government entity, technically owned by the people. So all the content created, for the most part, is public domain, and it can be repurposed and reused for um, education purposes. And so that means that Airman Vision can repurpose or use that to educate, because that's what this channel is for, is educating people. So the biggest thing that I am planning for 2025 is I am combing through DIVIDS, which is the Department of Defense's like visual information database system. And so all public affairs specialists for any branch, when they create content, technically it's owned by the government. And so then it is owned by the people. So typically what they're supposed to do when they take photos or when they take videos is they're supposed to come back and they're supposed to upload it to this, to the DIVIDS system. However, they don't always tag their stuff correctly. They don't label it correctly. And so it makes it really hard to like sift through and find good information. So when I'm saying I have watched thousands of videos in the last few weeks, this is not an understatement. Like there have been some days where I've been at my computer for 18 out of 24 hours, combing through videos and watching videos. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the best content that is already created, because it's a shame that a lot of these public affairs specialists spent hours, weeks, or months working on some projects. And then they post it on their base Facebook page and it gets 32 views. They upload it to DIVIDS and they move on and nobody else ever sees it. And there are some good videos and there is some good information out there for people to see. So I'm going through and I am searching for every single job. So actually starting tomorrow, you guys are going to start to be absolutely bombarded with content from Airman Vision. And what I mean by that is every day, almost every day for the next year, I am planning on posting multiple videos every single day. What I am doing is I am going back through the Air Force's archive of videos created by public affairs, and I am searching for all the videos on every single job, and I am I'm going to upload the ones that I think are the best videos. And so whichever, stands out, like there was one job, like for instance, air traffic control, I think is, let me pull up, actually, I have a list. So I have this forecast out. It's going to take me the entire year to post content. I am scheduled right now to the beginning of April for videos. So there will be a lot of content coming. Air traffic control is going to be the first one. I watched no less than 150 videos about air traffic control. I picked 12, I think, 12 or 13 videos that I think were the best ones about explaining air traffic control and what different aspects of air traffic control are. So I'm going to pull up what this is. So I'm just going to show you guys really quick. This is kind of what we're looking at. So this is where we're at right now. So BMT motivational video that posted today. So tomorrow, air traffic control, there are going to be multiple air traffic control videos posting on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Currently don't have anything for Tuesday. I have multiple Loadmaster videos posting on Wednesday next week, Thursday, and Friday. Same thing with linguists. So for each one of these, for air traffic control, I watched no less than 200 videos about air traffic control, trying to find which are the best videos that can be shared that public affairs and the Air Force has already made, but they don't have a way to catalog this. They don't have a way of disseminating this to the public. These people make this content, they post it on their Facebook page for their base, or it'll get posted on like some website for the base, and that's it. and barely anybody sees the content. And some of the content is good. Not as good as I think it could be. I think that they could dive more into explaining jobs. However, this is a start. So over the next year for 2025, this is my plan, is to go through and to look up videos. So this is the next year of content. You can see this is currently today. This is every day for the next year, my current schedule. Green means I've already uploaded. So I already have aerospace medical service, aerospace propulsion, security forces. This was a series that they had that I thought was okay. This was another video that I thought was interesting. And then linguist, loadmaster, and air traffic control. This is the start. So my goal is this is the entire next year, is I will be posting almost every single day, multiple videos a day of every single AFSC, every single job in the Air Force. And what this will do is this will create an organized catalog of Air Force jobs information. More than anything that the Air Force has created to this point, this will be the best catalog for Air Force recruiting that any recruiter could ask for. Because right now, recruiters get asked like, hey, can you tell me about this job? They can kind of tell people about a job. However, there's only so much that they know. And they also have a job. They do a lot of paperwork. They're talking with a bunch of people. They don't have the time that I have had to just dive in and like learn all of these jobs and put out the best content, because the Air Force doesn't have like an overall, like in my opinion, the Air Force should have already had a position that kind of does this in recruiting, that is literally just dedicated to let's get information out about these jobs. Why? So people joining can be educated. Two, so recruiters have a resource that they can utilize that is Air Force based. This is third party. Airman Vision is not affiliated with the Air Force. I do this on my own dime, out of my own pocket, out of my own time. And it's just crazy to think that the Air Force doesn't have that, because it would literally make every recruiter's job so much easier, where they're like, oh, you want to know about this job? Boom. Within 2 clicks, they could pull up 6 videos about that job. Oh, you want to know about this job? Boom. 6 videos about this job. There's nowhere that exists today. You would have to scour the internet all over. You have to go on YouTube and do YouTube searches. It's not categorized all at once. So this is the next year of all of these jobs that are going to get posted. That leads me into January, where then my hopes would be to start looking up Air Force bases. Like, what is it like to be stationed at this base? And going through and looking at Ramstein Air Force Base, all the videos that the Air Force has already created. Which ones are the most useful? Which ones, from my standpoint, when I was first joining, that's like, and that's why I think I Connect and this YouTube channel has done so well, is because every time I make anything or I do anything on this channel, I am obsessed with the mindset of what did I want when I was joining? What was I looking for when I was joining? And so you keep saying big year. Big 5-year goal would be within that time span to become a consultant for senior leaders in the Air Force and for public affairs and recruiting potentially. Anybody that would actually hire me to do consulting, because as crazy as it is to think, I am most likely the top subject matter expert on recruiting individuals and Air Force information for people looking to join. I have consumed more content than any of those people. I have interacted and put out more content than anyone else on these things. And so it's kind of weird to think about that. Like I suffer from this is a vulnerable thing. I suffer from imposter syndrome very bad. So I typically don't feel like personally like I'm even worth making like entry level, like being in an entry level position. I can start anywhere and work anywhere, and I will work my butt off, and I will get told like you work harder than anybody else that's ever had this position. And I still feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm very hard on myself. And so it's very hard to, feel like I am worthy or worth it. But in reality, the last few days I've been like thinking back and I'm like, have more information in my head about joining the Air Force and what it's like to be in the Air Force and talking to new recruits than most recruiters. And like they do all the paperwork stuff and they know like the by the book stuff. But when it comes to talking to, the new generation and what those people are looking for, I still am stuck in that mindset of what did I want when I was looking to join? And I am nowhere near. Like it's kind of terrifying, honestly, when when I created this spreadsheet here over the last week, it's daunting. Like it makes me emotional because I'm like, I have spent thousands of hours on Airman Vision and helping people. And then I'm like, I'm not even 10% there. And that is terrifying. Knowing how much work is ahead and and I'm not really compensated a lot for any of this, but like I've said, it's like my obsession and I'm like, I can't let it go. Like I have to fill this gap that the Air Force has left since before I joined. And so I joined 12 years ago and this gap still exists. And so I am super passionate about helping people. So much so it's probably one of my toxic traits because I could go get like when I had my other job, I was making good money, but I was working 70 hours a week and I was going to school full time. And I didn't have time to do this. And that whole time I was working and doing that, I wanted to do this. But I know that this pays me less than $1 an hour when I actually work on it. And so that's what's terrifying is I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all this that I want to do. And I am like sacrificing income to pursue this, but I'm like, it's a weird obsession that I have. When they can no longer ignore it. Yeah. So, well, and the cool thing about Jody is Jody with a Y. Jody was actually, I went and talked to his dep when he was a recruiter. So now he's a recruiter instructor. And I'm not sure if he's still in that position. But I was recruited out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And when I left for the Air Force, my recruiter obviously did her time. And then a new recruiter came in. And then 4 years went by. And then another recruiter came in. And that recruiter was Jody. So Jody was actually a recruiter in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where I was recruited out of. But he was just a recruiter like 6 years later or 5 years later. So when I was in the Air Force, I actually came back and I talked to his dep. Like I went and I answered questions while I was in the Air Force because I came back on vacation to see family. So that's actually when I met Jody with a Y. And Jody, if you go back in some of his old videos, you'll see that I was actually one of the biggest inspirations for Jody starting his YouTube channel, because when I was there talking to his dep, he was like, I already talk to all these kids all the time. I already know all these answers. I do all of this. And he's like, I can make a channel too. If that shows you what I'm like behind the scenes, Jody saw me talking to people, saw how I was off camera and was like, if Kyle can do it, I can do it. So, I am literally like just your everyday average person. um, there is really not anything special about me. And so it's funny that like, he saw that and a few years later, he finally started his YouTube channel after being like, you know what, I can do that too. And he makes very good content. Like Jody's content, his ability to edit videos and make videos and storytell supersedes mine by like 10. Like I have, if you were to put on a scale of like 1 to 10 being how skilled you are at making videos, I'm probably a 3 or a 4. I've been making videos since 2002, 2001, when I had a camcorder with cassette tape, and then I would plug it into my computer and I would hit play and then hit record on the computer so it would transfer, because you couldn't just like plug it in. There weren't SD cards and stuff. Like, that's how long ago I was editing videos. I have been editing videos for a very long time. And I would rate myself like a 3 or a 4 on a scale of 1 to 10. I would say Jody has only been doing videos for a few years, and Jody is like a 6 or a 7. And like, that's crazy, because he's only going to get better because he's already gotten so good in that time period. And so like, I'm not even talented at making videos. It's just the crazy thing. I just, like I've said, I've been obsessed with this passion to help people. And so I just never stopped, and I kept coming back to it, and I kept helping people, answering questions. And so I just keep doing that. And that's kind of the plan for Airman Vision moving forward. So 2025 plans is jobs. That's the biggest thing is right here is this is jobs. Tonight, after this, I'm going to finish uploading these. Hopefully this weekend, I'll get these uploaded. And then next week, I'll just keep going. And my goal is to have nonstop videos about jobs for the next entire year. And so that way, people that are joining this year, you know, if they're not going to basic training until next year, they will have a catalog. They will have a place that they can go and they can search any job, and they will find not 1, not 2, but like 3 to 6 videos on every single job. Now, these videos are not, they're still missing what I think they should be having. So my goal is to build this catalog. Then next year, present to the Air Force to be like, I have built this catalog. Here's the information that these people are looking for. All of your recruiters already use Airman Vision as a resource. Help me help you guys actually get the answers that these people are looking for, of in-depth job interviews. I will sit down with people and do an hour and a half long interview answering all these different questions that people like you have. Then go and film them for a few days working, so I can overlay that content over the video. So as they're talking about specific things, you guys can see them doing it hands-on, and really going in depth and explaining all the different parts of different jobs. And the people that are looking to join, like, in my opinion, that's the best way to inspire somebody, is not a hype video about the job. It is them actually seeing an in-depth interview of the job, and they feel like they go into it knowing exactly what they're getting into, and they want that. And that's where I'm at now, is with that. And then next year, I will be going into bases. So the goal is to build up the inventory, or the archive of all the jobs in the Air Force, and everything that already exists from the Air Force already. So I am combing through all of the public domain videos that the Air Force has already created and finding the best ones, because I also think it's a shame that we have public affairs specialists that put hours, days, weeks, or months into projects that only get posted on their, Davis Monthan Air Force Base Facebook page, and they get 30 views, and that's it. That video is created to help people, and the Air Force did not put it into a place where it could actually live and help people. So with that being said, I am going through and I am giving those public affairs specialists their opportunity for their content to reach thousands or tens of thousands, or hopefully some of the videos, hundreds of thousands of views. These projects that these people worked on, that the Air Force then posted for them in a place that would not survive, that would not get views. And then they just tell them to work on the next project again. So my hope actually is to, this is kind of twofold. So my hope is by doing this, public affairs specialists in the Air Force, some are not going to like it. Some are going to be like, you're stealing my work. Cool. Your video was posted on your base Facebook page. It got 30 views. If that's how you want it to live, it doesn't matter. It's not your work. It is owned by the Air Force. So all public affairs specialists, when they make content, they don't own the rights to it. They could post it on their own Instagram, but they cannot copyright it. So when they create content, when they take photos, when they make videos, it's not copyrighted because they don't own it. The Air Force content is public domain. So it's the same thing for like FOIA requests and stuff that that reporters use to get documents and information and communications between different people, because the government's interactions and communications and stuff like that actually belongs to the people. So we have the right to know what's going on. We have the right to use that information. We can report on that. We can educate on that. So some public affairs specialists might not be a fan of that because it might feel like I am, stealing their work. However, I am building a catalog. That's what I'm going to be doing moving forward for this next year is finding all the best content on jobs in the Air Force and posting them. So it's kind of twofold, because what I hope this does is this gets public affairs specialists to go, oh, I'm not just making videos now for my Facebook page, for my base Facebook page to just post it and nobody give a shit about it and just move on. I am now making videos for the opportunity for Airman Vision to potentially pick up my video and post it and then get tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views. The podcasts are very limited because they don't show information. It's just talking heads. So just me and somebody else talking about those jobs or talking about their experience in the Air Force. And so I think this is good. And I've gotten a few comments where people were like, oh my gosh, this was actually a really good informational video. And they're like, I'm excited to go back and watch all the other episodes. These videos aren't going to perform crazy big as far as like views go, because they're very long and they're not as entertaining. So like you have to be really, really interested. The bigger thing with these is I'll eventually go through and snip out like certain questions. So it's like, what advice do you have for somebody joining the Air Force? I have 6 interviews that I've done. I could go and make a video about advice for people joining the Air Force, and I can have 6 different opinions on what people should do when they're looking to join the Air Force. And then, so eventually that's what I'll do is I'll take highlights from those and make a compilation video of like a singular question. So you'll get one question answered, but it'll be from like 6 different angles. So I'm still going to continue to do the MEPS podcast. The next thing that I would like to do, I don't know if that's going to be this year because the amount of work going into uploading videos right now for all the job interviews is so much and so demanding. And I don't want to overshadow other content, but I would like to eventually have Airman Vision become a place where I have like hosted content. So some of the ideas that I have just off the top of my head right now are like monthly news updates. So there's so many changes that happen in the Air Force and updates. So like sometimes they, change the dress code policies or whatever, or there's some major information happening. They're closing down a base. I would like to have somebody potentially host an episode once a month where they just compile the last 30 days of information that the Air Force has done and all the biggest changes and biggest information, and make an update video of, in 30 minutes, I'm going to cover all these things that have happened over the last month, and just once a month make that content. I'm not looking to do that. So I'd be interested in trying to find somebody that would be interested in doing that. And then another thing I think would be super interesting to do would be to host a kind of like a vlog on the channel, but it be from the perspective of somebody joining the Air Force. And what that means is it would be like a weekly vlog update where somebody would essentially vlog their week. Every week, that they are in the process of joining. Like, say it's somebody that wants to join the Air Force and they need to lose weight to get in shape and they need to talk to a recruiter. What I would want is what I did and what McKenna had done is basically replicate that again and have this person host their, like, they make a weekly video that encapsulates the last week of their process to join the Air Force. And, you know, from civilian to airman. And it would just be a weekly documentation of their progress until they leave for basic training. And once they leave for basic training, I would then seek out new talent to find another person that wants to go through the process and document their process until they leave. And then we just keep recycling that. So there's a constant view of what it looks like for somebody else to join and be in the process. So if you're joining in the process, you're watching in real time with somebody else that is also doing the same thing. And so when that person, though, because they would essentially work for Airman Vision in a manner, is that they would have access to like all that information and myself and other people, where when they have questions, they could be that source of information where they could be making videos and updating, hey, I just found out this information, or hey, Airman Vision's already made these. Like this week, I had this question that popped up and it was a video that was already made 3 years ago on Airman Vision. And so here's the video, and like kind of backlinking people back to useful information in the process of joining. So those are the three. And then the third one would be I would like to do a monthly live stream on Airman Vision and bring people in and like co-host with people. And even if that means, you know, bringing in, multiple people or people from other branches, just hosting kind of like a weekly town hall with a bunch of people, or bringing in somebody, you know, that's joining in the process of joining, and they come in and they can ask questions live, and you guys can ask questions as well. So those are the three things that I'm looking for from other people to help contribute to Airman Vision. And even if that be, somebody else is starting their own YouTube channel and they're like, hey, I want to make content. I'm making my own videos, but I want to host a series on your channel once a month. And they shout out their channel and they post however often on their channel. So, you know, they post once a week on their channel, but once a month, they have a continuing series on Airman Vision. And that's kind of my overall goal, is to turn Airman Vision into some sort of like network, like an informational network or a news network, where there are multiple personalities that have their own shows. So the biggest thing moving forward is going to be jobs over the next year. So this is the plan. Almost every single day for the next year, I will be posting multiple videos of all the jobs in the Air Force, of the content that's already been created. So then after this year, we will have a massive catalog of every single job in the Air Force. However, some of the videos will be lacking substance. So the goal is to then go back and be able to shoot in-depth interviews, but to have already created the biggest catalog for Air Force information, all collectively in one place. So that leads me to asking questions. I'm going to go through and actually read some of these comments, and then we will go through. And if you guys have questions, start asking them now, because I want to answer some of the questions from you guys directly. And then let me see. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. All right. So what are you doing for work since you moved? So this is from Jonah. So right now I actually just moved from Las Vegas to Iowa. So from Nevada to Iowa, I just moved back closer to home. This is where my friends and family are. So I am just getting settled in. As you can see, this is going to be like these are like sound dampening boards, but like it's makeshift studio at the moment. Probably going to be, I'm getting settled in here in Iowa, probably be several months. So for work right now, I'm going to school full time. I am using the GI Bill. And then I am going to be renting my house out in Las Vegas that I just moved from, because I own that house. And then I do this full time currently. And then I'm also going to be looking for a part-time job, most likely, or a full-time job. So right now, this is the only thing that I am doing work-wise. But it is not sustainable on its own. I will not have money if this is the only thing that I rely on. Let me see. Chemical Luxury said, about to go to basic. My job is going to be air traffic control. Well, the next few days, I'll be posting like 12 videos about air traffic control. So you'll get to see some of the best content that the Air Force has made so far on that job. So lucky you. Charlie, I'm really proud of you making your way, considering all the hate you got when you started back in the day. Yeah, it was really tough on my mental health. I still deal with a lot of anxiety and depression today. And that's stuff that I've been working through, you know, with the VA and other stuff. And so, yeah, but I'm obsessed with this, filling this gap to help people. That's like my biggest priority. So, you have no idea the impact you've made, said Danica. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to help. That's literally the biggest thing. Battlefield said, hi from New Zealand. What does this say? Quaz said, if I'm saying that, Quaz 9000. My guess is that the Air Force will have a tab with your name on it, like Jody, when they can no longer ignore the poll you have on potential recruits. Yeah, that's and the nice thing too is I actually, in Vegas, when I was playing hockey there, a guy joined the team. He got stationed at Nellis and he joined the team and started playing hockey with us. And he's a master sergeant. And he's like, dude, I watched your videos in 2013 when I joined. Like, he joined in like summer of 2013. He was watching my videos when I was in tech school. He was watching my videos when I was in tech school because he was getting ready to go to basic training. He is an E7 in the Air Force. That is crazy. There are master sergeants in the Air Force that watched my videos before they joined. So like over the next 5, 10, 15 years, all the way up, all the way to like eventually the chief master sergeant of the Air Force will be somebody that watched Airman Vision before they joined the Air Force. It is statistically almost impossible for there not to become a chief master sergeant of the Air Force one day that didn't watch Airman Vision before they joined. So hopefully once, you know, the people that have been helped by Airman Vision keep climbing up that ladder, that gives me, you know, a better opportunity to be able to communicate with those people because they already see my value. That value already helped them. So why would they not want to give back when they're in a position to work with Airman Vision to help even more people? So that's kind of like a long-term big goal for that. Just Khan said, finding is super difficult to start studying for the ASVAB. I bought a book and it hasn't been the most helpful. Any suggestions? If you're in school, I would say pay attention to school. If you're in college, pay attention to college. School is very, very important. Pay attention in school because it's some of the stuff you actually like learn throughout school. So, but it's one of those things like it's not going to be, you can't pick up a ASVAB book and study it for a week and then be like, improve your scores dramatically. They're going to be things that my guess or my suggestion would be to take like a week and study like sections of a section, like a chapter that has to do with certain things, like when it comes to reading comprehension or other things, like take a week and really learn the concepts of that stuff and then look up other videos. I know there's some websites as well that offer like free study guides and things like that. But it's just going to be something that takes time and a lot of energy. Oh my gosh. Charlie said, I think my first video is him driving that orange van going to a Japanese McDonald's. It's so relaxing. That's crazy. Cause that was probably my first video that like blew up. And I think the very beginning, I was like, my name's Kyle Gott and I'm just a regular person. I just happened to be in the military living in Japan or something like that. And so in that video, like I didn't really do anything. I just kind of talked about life living in Japan and on and off base. And I went to McDonald's and like KFC off base. And yeah, it was a fun time. Charlie said the military YouTube scene was awesome back in the day. Kyle, JT Suits, Nava, Nikki, and Drip. Underrated era. Yeah, that era is kind of come and gone, because that was also before like TikTok. That was before, it was before short form content became king. And so long form content was like the only thing that existed. And so help them. Lucas said, I believe that Sam Ekholm is big for recruiting just by showing airframes and all the other stuff. Yes. It's really like, that is a part of recruiting. And, but at the end of the day, if you want to join and you go to your recruiter and you're like, here's all the jobs you qualify for, most of Sam Ekholm's content is not going to help answer those questions. You are going to have hundreds of questions. And Sam Ekholm, he does a lot of partnerships with like Boeing and some other stuff. And he makes like some of those projects that he has done getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's also, like earlier I was talking about like video editing skills, right? I've been making videos since 2002. So I've been making videos for 23 years. I am a 3 out of 10 when it comes to video editing skills. I am not good at editing videos, especially for doing it for 23 years. I am a very, very bad video editor. I would say Jody, very early on in he's only been doing it for a few years. Jody is like a 6 or a 7. Sam Ekholm is a 10. His video editing skills, his storytelling skills are unreal. Sam Ekholm is very, very talented. And he has found a way to parlay that. He got out of the Air Force and he's a civilian now, and he partners with the Air Force and Boeing and a bunch of other contract companies. And he's very well connected. He was an officer. He was on the F-35 or F-22 demo team, I think. So he met a lot of people. He's very well connected from being an officer while he was in. So he has an extensive network. He has been killing it with the content that he makes. But I would say that him and I have very different goals with making content. Sam Ekholm is trying to make viral content. He's trying to make very like inspiring content, very professional content. And it is content that gets millions of views, no joke, on YouTube. But it still leaves people wanting questions answered when they're joining the Air Force. And so we have totally different ideas and goals when it comes to us making content. His is one portion of Air Force recruiting, and it will work and it will make people have a positive view of the Air Force, but it overall typically won't help people get in the door. It won't help people get to Lackland. So it's helping inspire people and be like, wow, this is awesome what the Air Force does. But it's not answering what they'll be doing specifically. So both very, very helpful. What he does is very, very helpful for the Air Force. Airman Vision and Sam Ekholm, they're just two different goals as far as how and what the content is going to be. And there is room for both. Graduating college in May, recruiter told me that if I put in a year as an E3, then apply for OTS, I have an 83.3 chance of being accepted. Does that sound like a number he pulled out of nowhere? Abso-fucking-lutely. I don't know the full process of that, but typically it is super competitive. Like you can, let me put it this way. There are people that have their master's degrees that struggle to do OTS as a civilian to get accepted into the OTS program. So they will join as enlisted because, so here's the way this works. There are so many spots available per year. So essentially you need to be the top candidate. So if somebody else has their master's degree, probably beating you out if you have a bachelor's degree. I'm not saying it's impossible because, I mean, there's not a ton of people that have master's degrees in their first few years of the Air Force, but there are people that join the Air Force and then try to commission later. It's very competitive, just like it is as a civilian. And the reason why it's so competitive is they only open up, say, 500 spots a year for civilians that have bachelor's degrees to come into OTS and commission. Same thing when you come in as enlisted. There are only so many spots available for enlisted personnel to commission. And it's not per rank. So something you have to keep in mind is, as an E3, being in for a year because you had a bachelor's degree, so you automatically start out as an E3, you're in for a year, you put in an OTS package. You're competing against a tech sergeant and a senior master sergeant that have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree and has been in the Air Force for 12 years. So him saying, well, if you get your bachelor's degree, you have an 83.3% chance. Don't know where that came from. I know of 3 people that have commissioned. One was a master sergeant, one was a tech sergeant, and another was a staff sergeant. The master sergeant was one of my supervisors when I was in the Air Force. He commissioned, he finished his bachelor's degree, and then he applied 2 years in a row, and he got accepted in the second year. And he was a master sergeant with a bachelor's degree. And he was a very good airman, like 5 out of 5 across the boards every year. So top airman for like 12 years in the Air Force, got his bachelor's degree, didn't get accepted the first year, got accepted the second year. The tech sergeant that I knew, he got accepted first time. He was also 5 out of 5. He had been in the Air Force for like 9 years or 10 years. He got accepted, I believe it was first time that he applied. But he was also 5 out of 5, did a ton of extra work, like community work, a bunch of stuff, super involved. The other person I knew, stationed in Japan, staff sergeant, he got his master's degree, he got his bachelor's degree. He kept applying for the OTS program for, I think, 3 years. And in that time, he got his bachelor's degree so he could apply, started applying for 3 years. And then he kept going to school, so he's getting his master's. He got his master's, and then the year after he got his master's, he got accepted for it. So 83.3% sounds like a very weird number to throw out there. You can't put a percentage on it because there's not a guaranteed thing. You could apply 15 times and never get accepted for it because there might always be somebody better than you. And if there are only 10 spots available for enlisted personnel and there are 100 applying, the top 10 are getting selected. So you could be number 11 that year, but then the next year you have more people apply and their packages might be better than yours the next year. So now you're 15th out of 100. So yeah, that's just kind of my understanding of that. There are only so many slots available, and it's typically competed like Air Force wide, or I don't know if certain units have like certain quotas that they can allow, or bases or MAGCOMs. But overall, I know that there is a restricted number of slots because what they do, it's like tech school. So they book how many tech school slots they need. So you're going to have a class of 30 kids. Then they fill those 30 slots with people in the depth. So OTS works the same way. They'll be like, oh, for, summer of this year, or say fall of this year, we have 50 slots available. So between now and fall, they will fill 50 slots. So yeah, that'd be my understanding. But you can also not join and keep trying to apply to OTS as a civilian, and hopefully it works out. But that's also very competitive. So if you want to get the ball rolling, at some point, I think if you're very dedicated and you're showing it, then yes, there is a pathway for you to commission. 83% on your first time, probably not, because like I said, you're competing with other enlisted members that have been in for much, much longer. So you got to be on top of your stuff. David said, yeah, he definitely pulled that out of nowhere. I work with an E4 that came in with a bachelor's and is currently pursuing his doctorates. He was declined OTS on his most recent package. Yeah. So I kind of just explained the process of most people that are currently in, they get their bachelor's degree. They don't get accepted right away. They keep going to school for their master's or their doctorate, right? They keep pursuing it because the only way to get accepted is to be the top candidate. And if you are competing each year over year, and there are other people with master's degrees applying and you have a bachelor's, you're not the top candidate. Oh, good question. What are your thoughts on the new 1D7X1 shreds, if you know anything about it? And also, what are your thoughts on the career field as a whole? This is really funny because uh, look at this right here. I was actually today, cyber systems operations is actually cyber defense operations. At least that's what the like documentation from the Air Force says. The Air Force recruiting website says Air Force systems operations. But the actual like AFSC is cyber defense operations. I actually just went through and updated the website. So this is actually airmanvision.com, but I literally just updated this because it was all of these, the 3D, 3D1, all of these previous AFSCs. I was searching for videos and then I was like, dang, there's a lot of these different career fields. Then I found out, oh my gosh, they all combined recently over the last few years. So I updated the website. So that was actually what I was working on right before I jumped on this live stream. So I watched today like 100 videos about all of these career fields. I think it's pretty dope. It's pretty cool. Some of the aspects of the job's pretty boring, pretty mundane, but somebody's got to do it. But there are some cool opportunities and cool things that anybody in the the cyber communications career field, there's some pretty cool shred outs within that. So I don't know a ton other than I will be actually posting videos. So if you're in the process of looking information up, April 5th and 6th will be when those videos go live. So I'll be posting, well, considering that there's multiple shred outs, I'll be trying to post like 1 to 2 videos for each of these. So, like 15 videos we'll be posting between those 2 days. So that's cool that you just asked about that. Some of the best ways that you guys can help Airman Vision would be obviously 1, to subscribe to the YouTube channel. 2, this is important, watching videos all the way through. If you watch an Airman Vision video, YouTube actually, like, I can dig into stats and analytics. And one of the things that YouTube decides on whether it shows it to more people or less people is the percentage of the video watched. So if I upload a 5-minute video and you watch 40 seconds of it, it's less likely to show it to other people because you only watched like 16% of the video. So the percentage of videos watched matters. So this doesn't just go for me. This goes for any creator on YouTube. If you have a creator that you like, watch their video all the way through. If video gets kind of boring, or what I do, I watch almost everything at 2 times speed. YouTube just rolled out like 4 times speed and 3 times speed. I was listening to a video the other day or earlier today in 3 times speed. And so if somebody's talking slow, you can always speed up the video. And that still helps because you're watching the video all the way through. So yeah, but watching videos all the way through is really, really helpful. It actually is one of the most impactful analytics that YouTube uses, whether it shares it with more people or not. So if you appreciate the content, watch the videos all the way through. Very, very helpful. Obviously, like the videos if you appreciate it, and share the videos. And then another way that you can help is actually YouTube. On like some of the videos, they offer super thanks, which is kind of it's kind of like a super chat on a live stream. So you can donate to that specific video. So if you see a video that you really like, and this doesn't just go for Airman Vision, this goes for any YouTube channel, you can leave a comment with a super thanks. And so then that shows up in the chat, but it shows that you paid for that, that comment. And so, and then a percentage of that goes to the creator. So that's actually another really helpful way. And it also shows like specific appreciation for a piece of content that you're like, wow, like this, I really, really like this. This really helped me. Projects that you appreciated. And then also any of the products on Airman Vision. So Airman Vision has the BMT prep guide, which is the, let me see. I'm going to pull this up. So we have the Air Force prep guide, and then also the BMT fitness prep workout program. And then this merchandise right now is currently what we have. It's another way that you can support Airman Vision as well, especially these two. These are digital downloads. This book spent like 6 years making it. It's super helpful. I purchased a BMT book before I joined the Air Force. And so I released this book like 3 years ago, which I haven't really promoted a whole lot or talked about. But it is, I don't have one next to me right now. But it's an actual book. And there's a lot of work that went into it, and it's super helpful. And it really like breaks down kind of like what all to expect at basic training. So, and then that book is also available on Airman or on Amazon.com as well. So that's, those are the best ways, is through these purchases or through the book. And if you want to gift the book to somebody, that would be super cool too. If you know somebody that's joining or you're joining, I would highly recommend the book. I kind of mentioned earlier, I really struggle with imposter syndrome. I'm very, very hard on myself. I have very high standards for myself. And I always feel like I can do better. I'm never good enough. I need to do more. And something that's been hard for me is I don't like the I don't like the aspect of social media where like everybody is out constantly shilling things and trying to make money and like promote anything and everything and uses affiliate links nonstop for everything. I don't really do that. And so, because one thing it's hard for me is I didn't come from money. Like I grew up very poor. My family filed for bankruptcy when I was in high school. I grew up in a trailer park. I always drove cars that cost less than $2,000, and I didn't have money. So I know what it's like to join the military because you don't really have money. So I always feel bad about asking people that are in that joining phase. So that's something I struggle with, is the selling part of social media and the selling part of being an influencer. I actually don't like the consumerism society that we live in. So I'm more of like a minimalist in a way with a lot of things. So that's actually something that's really difficult with trying to like manage a company and a brand, is you kind of need to sell to make a living. But I hate selling to other people because I hate charging people for things because I grew up and knew how hard it was to have money. So that's a little bit of vulnerability on my part. Selling stuff has not always been the easiest thing for me. So even though I created this book, not done a good job, I'm going to try to force myself this year to get over that and actually promote the book that I created and the workout program, because they're very helpful and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from the people that have purchased them. I just feel so bad charging people for things, but I also need to survive. So, yeah. So the last few questions, I appreciate you guys jumping on this live stream. Support Airman Vision. Oh, Manny, let me see. Manny said, love seeing you back, bro, and loving the plans, man. Appreciate it. The $2, Manny. Oh, it even shows up as colorful on the screen. Heck yeah. Let me see. What did... Oh, somebody said, what is an honor? Somebody explained that, but Jacob said, I will always recommend supplying. The Air Force pays big money on the civilian side. I have a job interview coming up that starts at 105,000. I don't have any degrees, no skill bridge, just going guard. Dude, that's awesome. I hope you get the job. That is incredible. Do you choose top 3 with open aptitude index at basic? Yeah. So if you're going in as like open general, or at basic, I don't know if it's 3 or 5, you have to fill out a certain number and they will try to give you one of those jobs. So, Native to Earth said, support Airman Vision. Hope you can interview a POL guy soon. So I'm assuming you're joining before October, but that's when I'm planning on getting to October 4th and 5th, planning on posting those videos then. Yep. I know that say open general is pretty much guaranteed to get security forces, but maybe that's just a rumor. Not well. So here's the thing: security forces is by far the biggest career field in the Air Force. So when you go open general, not only is it the biggest career field in the Air Force, it is also the biggest career field in the general aptitude. So percentage wise, everything can be divvied up to percentages. So essentially out of the open general jobs, anything that can fall under general, say it's, I don't know, 20 some or 30 some jobs. Percentage wise, you would base it off of how many people are in each of those careers, and then divide that number by the total number of all of those combined. So like, for instance, security forces, I'm just going to throw out a random number, 24% chance that you're going to get it. All the other jobs, you're probably looking at like a 6% or a 2% chance. So you add all those up, and then people are like, oh yeah, you're most likely getting security forces. Yes, 1 out of every 4 will get security forces, right? Or 1 out of every 5 will get security forces, something like that. There is no other job where 1 out of 5 people are getting a specific job. So that's why, but security forces is by far the biggest career field in the Air Force. So statistically, yes. Are you more likely to get security forces? Absolutely. Is it overblown? The percentages that people get it? Yeah, absolutely. Because nobody else in open general, there's no other job that has that high of a percentage, right? Even though it sounds like there's an 80% chance that you're getting security forces. That's not true. There's like a 1 in 5, rough estimate, just off the top of my head from what I know. Nobody else is like, oh yeah, I got services, it's guaranteed you're getting services, because 1 out of every 10 people will get assigned to services if they go open general. Nobody in their right mind is going to say everybody's getting assigned that, because they might be the only person in their whole BMT flight that got assigned services if they went open general, versus there might be 3 or 4 guys that get assigned security forces in a flight that all went open general. And that's just because of percentages. So, yeah, it's basically what it boils down to. It's the same thing with going to an Air Force base. Actually, let me show you some fun. Here's some other stuff that I've been working on. So this is some fun stuff. We're going to dive into this real quick. So when it comes to bases, same concept. I've done some math here. So a lot of people will be like, the Air Force dream sheet, they won't give you what you want. Yeah, no shit. Statistics. If you know simple statistics, you should expect that. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go over that with you, because I created this, which is not public yet because I'm still working on it. But here are bases. Here's the overall active duty population, right? So here's the thing. Not every job goes to every base. So you can have a job that only goes to 4 of these bases. So I'm going to sort these right here. The bases based on how many people are stationed there. It's about 25,000. I subtracted about 4,000 or 5,000 for basic trainees that are there at any given point. So San Antonio, so Lackland, Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, most Air Force personnel, biggest base personnel wise, Wright-Patterson, same thing. Nellis, 3rd Eglin. So this is statistically, more people are stationed at these bases than these bases. These are Space Force bases, by the way, but Air Force personnel, some of them, these were all Air Force bases. They got moved over, but some Air Force personnel still go there. So, say for whatever reason, you're like, I really want to get stationed at Misawa Air Force Base. Not a very big base, not a ton of people there. So what you're looking at is the overall percentage of people that get stationed at bases. 0.5% get stationed at Misawa each year. If that tells you the statistics, if you put that on your list and you don't get picked for it, that's common sense. But also you're likely not to get picked for it if it's not on your list. So the dream sheet, you have to put stuff on it. So this overall is I kind of created a popularity score as well. So based on like kind of how I see what I've heard from people and how they want the popularity score. So you have the overall odds of getting it. That's just a statistical probability. How many people are getting stationed? So like essentially what this means is if there are 100 airmen right now that need to get assigned to a base, the statistical odds roughly, right? Because that varies every single week and day. The overall over the course of a year, 2 out of 100 will get stationed at Hickam Air Force Base in Hawaii. 2 out of 100. 2 out of 100 will get stationed at Ramstein in Germany. Maybe 1 out of 100 will get stationed in Italy at Aviano. So, as you can see, not very high chances. Also, very popular bases to put down on your list. So if you put these on your list, odds of you getting it, still just 2%. Now, if you look at something that is less popular, so let's go over to the overall chances of getting a base, right? Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland. Not very popular. Some people might want to go there. It's a bigger place in Texas. If they're from Texas, Texas is one of the most populated states. So it's semi-popular. Some people like to be there. There's a lot to do in San Antonio. So if you put it on your list, you got like a 1 in 10 chance of actually going there. This is like that and Wright-Patterson, like those two bases. If you put those two bases on your list, there's still an 80% chance you're not going to either one of those. It's kind of crazy. But the whole point of doing this was to kind of like create something that can I share this Excel sheet? I'm working to eventually put this on the website in a manner that is helpful to people. So so Minot Air Force Base, 7,000 people are stationed there, roughly, military personnel. 2% chance of getting there statistically. For every 100 people that join the Air Force, 2 of them are going to Minot. That's just statistically how it has to be. For every 1,000 people that join the Air Force, 20 people will go there. So out of every, there's 35,000 people that join the Air Force every single year on average. So you think 35,000 join the Air Force. 1.9%. That is 682 people will get stationed there. So out of all the people that go to basic training for 2025, about 682 of them statistically will get stationed at Minot. However, how many people do you know are putting Minot on their list? I would say not many. I knew 1 in tech school that did. So very rarely are people putting it on there. So if you put it on your list, you are likely one of the only people in that batch that is putting it on their list, meaning you have a 25% chance of getting stationed in Minot. Because if there is a opening and you are the only person that had it on your list, you are more than likely getting it over somebody else. So that's kind of how this works to give people an idea. Now, all of these are also independent of each other. So you cannot put, I guess you could put say you could put what, 7 jobs, 7 bases on each side. So stateside and, say you put these jobs on here, you have a 47% chance of getting a base that you want with these 7. Odds are still against you, but it's also individualistic. So I wouldn't expect it to be that much, because say you actually put 14 bases down on your list, no, you don't have a 100% chance of getting where you want to be stationed. Because say you put all these bases on your list. However, when it came to availability during your short cycle, right, your class has only so many spots open. Say these were the only bases that were available. It doesn't matter if you put these 14 bases up here on your list, because you are going to one of these. So that's why I say it's individualistic. It'd be the same thing of rolling a dice. So say you have a dice And if you put on your list, 1, 2, and 3, you have a 1 in 6 chance of rolling every single one of those. But it doesn't mean that one of those is getting rolled. Somebody could roll a 6. You had 1, 2, and 3 on your list. Somebody's got to get assigned that 6. Could be you. So yeah, was another side project that I was working on because statistically it makes sense why, most people, this is why when people say it's just a dream sheet, most people don't even go where they want. Correct. Because, here I have a list of 76 bases, 77 lines. The first line doesn't count. So 76 bases. Your class at tech school is going to consist of 10 people, 15, 20. So when you think of it that way, when you only have, 15 openings, and some bases might have multiple. So Minot might have 2 spots available. You might have these bases that need 15 people at that moment. This is the only place that your class can go. So typically in tech school, you don't know. You fill out your dream sheet in basic training. In tech school, that's when they determine what the openings are like. Once you're in the Air Force, it's a little bit different. When you go to different bases and get stationed at different bases, you can see what bases are needing people and needing spots. So that can change, over time, and you can see your chances of getting stationed somewhere. But this is the overall like raw odds of you just like YOLO putting it on my list because you can't see what's available. For instance, when I was stationed overseas in Japan, so I was stationed at Kadena in Okinawa, Japan, which is probably one of the more popular places to be stationed. About 2% of the Air Force is actually stationed there. So you have about a 2% chance, raw odds of going there. If you put it on your list, you got about a 2.4% chance. So very low odds. I was very lucky to be stationed there. And but once you're overseas, you get put on a mandatory mover list once your time is up. So I was there for 3 years. At the end of my 3 years, they gave me a list saying, you are PCSing at this date. We have 15 airmen that are PCSing at this date. Here are the bases where we need you 15 to go. So they will give you the list of bases. So say they give you 8, or say they give you 8 bases and they each need 2 people. This now becomes your list. This is it. Doesn't matter if you want to be stationed at any of these. This is all that's available. You are going to one of these bases. However, when you're joining, that's not how it works. You fill out your dream sheet, then they determine when you're in tech school what bases for your class. So they say this class has 8 people or 15 people. The Air Force will go, which bases need the next 15 new airmen in that career field? So then that's how that works. These are kind of just raw estimates. So it really is, yes, a dream sheet, but the Air Force isn't fucking you over on purpose. Like, that's not at all how it works. Statistically, it is just following statistics. So where would they have sent you if Kadena was full? I have no idea because I got assigned that in tech school. So it would have been to one of the other bases that anybody I was stationed with got. So somebody went to Ramstein. 2 of us went to Kadena. 1 person went to Minot. 2 people went to Seymour Johnson. 2 people went to Dyess Air Force Base in Texas. Somebody went to Beale in California. Somebody got stationed at some really small Air Force base in Florida. So those were our options. So if I hadn't gotten Kadena, I could have gotten somebody else actually got Minot, and somebody else got Whiteman. Somebody else at Whiteman, and then somebody else got McConnell. and somebody traded McConnell for Minot. So somebody got stationed at McConnell, and they really wanted to be in North Dakota because I think their family was from North Dakota. So he wanted to move back closer to home. So the person that got stationed at Minot did not want it, did not want to go to McConnell either, which is in Wichita, Kansas, I think, or one of the states in the Midwest. And so they switched. But those are what I could have gotten, were those other bases, because those were the openings for my class. And so 2 of us were lucky enough to get stationed at Kadena. How are my chances of California on your sheet? Good question. Which bases are in California? Because I can kind of do a rough addition. Let's see if I know these off the top of my head. Travis is California. Los Angeles. Say, what are the other ones? Beale. I think Vandenberg. Oops, wrong one. Vandenberg. Is there? Oh, Edwards is there. Are there any others on here? Where's Vance Air Force Base? So like right there, say 14% chance. Beale, Edwards, Travis, Vandenberg, March. Where's March? I don't think I have March on here. Yeah. So I would say, like, overall, if you put all of the California bases, like a 15% chance. Oh, Oklahoma is Vance. Yeah, so it's not very high. Like, statistically, if you were gambling and there was a 90% chance that you are going to lose the bet, you should not be surprised if you don't get it. So that's typically, you know, how that works. Yeah, way too many. Oh, there's way too many factors that play into base selection: PRP, EFMP, career field slots, etc. Yep. So, and again, this goes into, this is just generic, right? Because if you are, say, a RPA pilot, or say a sensor operator for RPAs, so remote piloted aircraft, you're a sensor operator. If you're a sensor operator, you can only go to like 4 bases. So if you put all 4 bases on your list, I can guarantee you are going to one of those 4 bases. And so then it becomes a ranking thing where you put your first base first, second, third, fourth. Ain't no way that Wright Patterson has 20K active duty. Here, do you know the actual number? The actual number of that? Because I was like, that's why I was like, I haven't posted this or made this public yet, because I'm still working on it. And I know that not all the numbers are super accurate, and I'll never be able to get 100% accurate number. But to at least have it be generally, you know, accurate. So it says there's about 31,000 employees total. That includes military, civilians, and contractors. So I'd be curious to know how many active duty Air Force members are actually stationed there, because they are super contracted out. I don't know the actual number. So it could be even less. Where was it? So say you could do like 12,000. See that now that lowers this percent to 6, and that affects everybody. So this was at 20,000. It affects one base changing, affects the odds of all the other bases. So, but overall, you can get like a dry run of the statistics of what everything is. So I haven't published this because I want to eventually make a video about it, talking about it, breaking it down, get these numbers as accurate as possible as I can. And then we go from there. So I heard doing a short tour, unaccompanied tour to Turkey with a follow-on to Ramstein is the best chance to get it. Yes, and that is exactly what I just explained. Was when you are serving that short tour, when the list drops, because you're a mandatory mover, so you know what day you're leaving the base, and they do things in waves of like a month. So they'll be like, this month we have 10 people stationed at overseas duty stations that are A1Cs. We need those 10 people to, these 10 bases need, which actually it's hit or miss. So sometimes with overseas, they might say, we only need, right? There might be 10 people that are already overseas that have a date, they're A1Cs, they're leaving. But overseas bases only need one A1C, and say that one A1C is in Kunsan, Korea. So Kunsan Air Force Base, Korea is the only place overseas that during that month of everybody PCSing in that specific month, Kunsan's the only one that needs a person, and they need one. So those 10 people automatically know we are all competing for that one spot. 9 people are not going to stay overseas. And that could happen to you. You could go to Kunsan, and then in your cycle, they could drop the base list and say it's 3 spots at Kunsan are available and no other overseas bases. It doesn't matter if you want to go to Ramstein. It doesn't matter if you want to go to Yokota. It doesn't matter if you want to go to Aviano or Kadena. It's not happening. Now, if they drop the list and there are, 2 at Kunsan, and there's 1 at Kadena, and there's 1 at Ramstein, and there's 1 at Aviano, if you are currently in Korea or in Turkey on a 1-year tour, you automatically know I'm getting one of the top picks. There are multiple other airmen in my cycle that are A1Cs leaving from other duty stations, overseas duty stations. They don't get top priority over you. You get first pick, but it would go in if there was somebody else that had, say, they got to Korea a day before you, or they joined the Air Force a day before you, or a week before you, because you go to basic training in weeks. So they joined a week before you. You guys got stationed at Korea at the same time, different for whatever reason. Because say they were at tech school for a week before classes started, you showed up, they would get priority over you because they've been in the Air Force longer. Plus, you guys both have the 1-year tours. So it's not guaranteed that you are going to go from Korea or Turkey to another overseas base. However, if there are overseas bases available during your PCS window, then yes, you will more than likely have a very, very high chance of getting that pick. So that's why when you're at Korea, if in your window, your PCS window, they're like, hey, there is a spot for, we need 1 person at Ramstein, and that's the only overseas base. If you're the only one in that window for that job PCSing from Korea at that time, odds are you're the one getting that spot, because you are the only one in that group that is getting that opportunity that has a short tour. That's why they say once you're OCONUS, it's easier to stay OCONUS. Correct. So actually, this is what is funny, because when I was in Japan, it works the same way. For when I was in Japan, so the overseas listing comes out first, and then the stateside listing. So the overseas listing came out when I was stationed in Japan. I was at Kadena Air Force Base in Okinawa, Japan. The overseas listing came out. Kunsan Air Force Base, 13 slots. That was it. They needed to fill 13 slots at Kunsan. I was married, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to go. I was likely going to leave the Air Force. I was at 3.5 years. I was like, if I go there for a year, then I get stationed overseas again, I'd be getting stationed overseas for 3 to 4 years because I'd be married. And I'm like, that's pushing me to like 7 or 8 years in the Air Force. I was like, I likely want to get out at my 6-year mark. So that's why I was like, nope, I'm not going unaccompanied to Korea. I could have gone to Korea. And then after Korea, I could have taken my chances to, try to stay overseas again. But it works the same way. The overseas listings come out first. And so I put nothing on my dream sheet for overseas because I didn't want to go to Korea. So they picked up everybody that they needed to go to Korea. And then all of us that didn't get picked up, because a lot of us didn't put Korea on our dream sheet because we didn't want to go to Korea, all of us then got our guaranteed movement list to the States. So everybody that was still overseas that needed to move, but we missed our overseas window because none of us wanted to go to Korea. The 16 of us that were left, we had to go to these specific stateside bases. So, and then you get the specific list of 16 openings stateside. So you know exactly where you're going stateside. But that's all once you're in. It's a lot different when you're joining because you don't get those lists. Jacob said, you love the Air Force, you miss it. Here's the thing. One of the reasons why I'm so passionate with Airman Vision and helping people is because I said this at the beginning of the stream. I truly feel like I was in the wrong career field in the Air Force. And if I can help people make a better educated decision to join the Air Force and have a better experience, that's kind of my goal. So especially watching a lot of, like, I've watched more job videos than any other person on earth. Like, I'm probably more educated on all jobs Air Force than most people, even most recruiters, which is crazy to think about. I probably would have loved being a recruiter. I didn't stand long enough to hit that point, but a lot of these other jobs and people that I've met in other career fields, I probably would have stayed in had I had a different experience, had I been surrounded by different people. It wasn't the job necessarily that broke me. It was the mindset of maintenance in general. Didn't really jive well with me being like a more creative person and entrepreneurial and a lot of other jobs. So yeah, like there are times where I'm like, dang, if I were to do this over, like I'd probably still be in the Air Force. And because like there were parts, like I liked the structure. I liked I'm a pretty organized person. I like structure. And it's, I want to put this comment up. Yeah. So like, and it's stable and it's consistent. You get to meet people. There's a lot of good opportunities. But overall, my mental health had really started to deteriorate. Throughout being in the career path that I was in, it just didn't fit me. And the people that I was around we just didn't see things eye to eye. I got talked down to a lot by a lot of senior leaders because I made Air Force informational videos. So that was really tough. And so that was one of the reasons, that was the biggest reason why I chose to get out of the Air Force was just, it was an uphill battle every day to try to help people. And then I literally got like picked on by senior leaders and told I was a piece of shit. Like I literally got told I was the problem with the Air Force by a chief. Yeah. And so it was like stuff like that I'm like, I didn't like the idea of sticking around and increasing in my responsibilities and then being further surrounded by people daily, because I was at least insulated a little bit as a senior airman and a staff sergeant when I was in, because I didn't have to work daily or all day with a lot of the senior leaders that were piss poor leaders, to say the least. But as I became, if I had been promoted to tech sergeant and then to master sergeant, I would work with those people all day, every day. And that was not a life that I could envision for myself. I was supported a lot more from other career fields and other senior leaders and other career fields outside of maintenance. And that was really tough because there was no retraining opportunity for me when I was in. It was closed. My career field was closed for retraining. And I was not willing to risk re-enlisting into another career field and then having the same experience over again. So, yeah, like I legitimately think the Air Force is one of the best things that you can do with your life, like wholeheartedly. It is one of the greatest opportunities that can set your life up. And even though I just did 6 years and I wished it would have worked out differently. Like I wanted it to go better than it did for me. But that was the cards, that I was dealt, or as Trump would say, I didn't have the cards. So, that's just the way it was. And yeah, like I'm not mad at the Air Force. I don't hate the Air Force. I think for most people, it is one of the greatest stepping stones that you can do in your life, whether that be a 20-year career and you retire, which is a phenomenal opportunity, or you do 6 years and you get out and you get VA disability and you have your medical covered for the rest of your life. And I get paid to go to school full time right now. I go to school, ASU online, 36 hours of homework a week. And I get paid $900 a month to go to school. Most people pay for school. And so it's a huge opportunity. And so that's one of the reasons why, like, it's always been really hard for me to give up on this project for Airman Vision and what I want it to be and what I think the Air Force can do better and how Airman Vision can be better, because there are a lot of people, I think, that come into career paths that if they had more information, they had more understanding, they could have made a better choice. It doesn't have to be, the most glorious jobs that everybody's choosing, but if they're going to end up in, one of the less desirable jobs, had I known more about joining and what the opportunities would be like after the Air Force, from the list of 26 jobs that I qualified for because I was color deficient, I scored like an 80 something on my ASVAB. I was color deficient. So I went from like 105 jobs that I qualified for to 26. And had I had more information at the time, I would have likely picked a different career path. Aircraft structural maintenance was my number 2 job on my dream sheet. Metals technology was number 1. And I think non-destructive inspection was number 3. In maintenance, looking back now, probably would have put non-destructive inspection above the other 2. But I wouldn't have put any of the maintenance jobs. I qualified for services. I qualified for finance. I qualified for a bunch of desk jobs for administrator and personnel. For me and how I work and the environment that I want to be surrounded in, maintenance is not that. And I knew that going in because I had never done maintenance. I was not a maintenance person when I was joining. So, but it sounded cool and it looked cool, but I didn't have any other information when I was joining about how that job actually looked in the Air Force and what that job would look like after I got out of the Air Force. So, that is, yeah, like, do I wish I had a different experience? Yeah, but also I don't regret it because, like, I grew a lot from my experience and there is no telling where I could be. Say I had a different career field. Maybe it doesn't pan out the same way, like the grass is always greener. But that's not always true. So I was given the hand that I was given and I made a decision based on the information that I had at the time. And if I can help people make a better decision, there might be some people that don't put maintenance on their job, but if they actually truly saw what we do in maintenance, they might realize, holy smokes, that's the job for me. And there might be people that think they want to do maintenance, but then they see what other jobs do and they see how it translates to the civilian world. And they go, you know what, actually, I like maintenance, but it's more of a hobby. I just do it as a hobby. I want this to be my actual 9 to 5. I didn't have everything that Airman Vision has done and all, like Jody with a Y and Sam Eckhom and all these other YouTubers that have created content. Like, none of that existed before I joined. And so that's why I still do what I do, because I honestly think that the Air Force is one of the greatest things that you can do, even if it's only 4 years. So, but I also don't think it's for everybody. So yeah, that's a real question or a real statement, Jacob. And that was a real answer. What would it take for you to re-enlist? I have a disc replacement in my neck. So I am pretty sure I am not able to, but I wouldn't mind working as a contractor or a consultant for the military. So that is, once I build the catalog of Air Force jobs on this channel, the next phase of Airman Vision is to then start. Next year, I finish my degree. So I've been going to school for 2.5 years now. I have a 1.5 years left to get my bachelor's degree. I'm almost there. So I got my associate degree in marketing. I went to school. I was like, I'm going to go to school full time and get my associate degree. I just want my associate degree. So I got my associate degree in marketing. Then I realized, oh my gosh, I don't want to be stuck in just marketing. So I was like, but I still want to go to school again. So then I started a business admin program with ASU Online. So I'm just getting a standard business bachelor's degree. And so some of my marketing classes did not transfer over. So I had a year and a half of school before I joined the Air Force. I have a year of school after the Air Force, and not much while I was in because I was dumb. Highly don't recommend not doing school while you're in. Highly recommend doing school while you're in. Do it. Do not be like me. Finish your bachelor's while you're in. Do it. Yeah. So I am going to school for the next year and a half, full time. It's a lot of work, 36 hours of estimated classwork a week for the next year and a half. I've been doing that for the last 2.5 years. So, yeah, that's once I finish the catalog stuff on Airman Vision and I'm getting closer to finishing my degree, that's when I'll start to pitch to become like a contractor consultant for the Air Force and Air Force recruiting and Air Force public affairs, because I will have so much experience and be the most connected with the new generation joining the Air Force. That I am one of the most knowledgeable people on the planet Earth about recruiting and Air Force and joining the Air Force. So, yeah, that's the overall thing of that. Got admin and wanted fighter avionics. Danza, you probably won't regret admin. From what I know, from when people were in, really cool people. They like to have fun, chill job, lots of room for personal activities, stuff like that. So, yeah. Your videos are very helpful. I just noticed I wasn't subscribed to your channel, but I still got a notification because I saw your video. Well, that's good. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Let me see. Well, let me see. Native to Earth. Wow, I didn't know that was going on with you back when I started watching your videos in December, but it makes sense why my recruiter wasn't hyping you up and telling me to go to Jody or Forever Wingman. It makes sense why my recruiter wasn't hyping you up and telling me. I'm confused. Wait, what? Oh, haters gonna hate. You definitely laid the groundwork online. Yeah, because I made a few videos kind of talking about, like, you know, some of the issues that I had in the Air Force, and obviously the Air Force doesn't like that. But that was my experience, and so like Jody with Y and stuff like that, like they're very and I know Forever Wingman too. I know he's pretty connected. I think he's a government contractor. I know he's really connected with a bunch of like people in the Air Force. So I don't know if they work like, I'm pretty sure he gets like some of his information from like directly from recruiting, or he knows people. So he is pretty well connected as well. And he has a lot of good information on his website. Yeah. Let me see. Go to MEPS on Monday. 17th. Afterwards, I was told I can sign for my job 3 to 5 days after, then wait in depth until my job becomes available to ship out. So if they can reassign me a job while at BMT. I'm going to read this one more time. Go to MEPS on Monday. After I was told I can sign for my job 3 to 5 days after, then wait in depth until my job becomes available to ship out. Okay, so kind of a weird way to either the way that you wrote that or the way that your recruiter explained it to you. Don't know which one it is. So you go in and you swear in. You're basically just telling the military, I am qualified to join. So that's where you do your physical, all that stuff at MEPS. You've done your ASVAB. You get all that stuff. So yeah, you get qualified physically, all of that, ASVAB. You find out you are fit to join the military. So then you will, what you will do is you will put down a list of the jobs that you want. So if he said, typically recruiters, it depends on where you're at because each region is different. I kind of want to make like an in-depth recruiting video for people because This is a question a lot of people have. So you might have to put down, 8 jobs or 10 jobs and then put down 2 as aptitude areas or 1 aptitude area. Then you'll be sworn in and you'll officially be in depth, and you will have your job list that you submitted, and your recruiter will be looking to assign you one of those jobs. You will be in the depth until that happens. And if it's taking longer than not, then they will likely just assign you an aptitude, because earlier I kind of explained the process of how the draft order works. So like you might get first pick. If you get first pick, that's cool, but then you also get 54th pick. So you get one good job for somebody in your depth, and then you got to go around, and now all that's left is, the high personnel jobs such as security forces, maintenance, the jobs that have the most people in them, which means that they're the most common, they're the most that need filled. So those are all the jobs that are going to be left. And then so people that want maintenance or security forces or other open general jobs or maintenance jobs, they're getting picked up. And if you don't want any of those jobs because they're not on your list, your recruiter is going to keep going. And eventually, if one of your things is not showing up, or they know, hey, I'm not going to get first pick anyways for the next year, I'm not going to get one of these top choices. So they will just assign you an aptitude area. And then you will go to basic training with an aptitude, and then you will fill out a list at basic training, and they will try to give you one of those. Have you reached out to Sam Ekholm? He has seemed to make a great transition from active duty to civilian PA for Department of Defense. I have not. He actually, McKenna was having issues when she first got stationed at Nellis. She actually got paperwork for a video that she had made, but then it was weird. It was a bunch of BS. So basically she started getting treated the same way I got treated for making videos to help people. So, but we had reached out to Sam Ekholm, and he kind of had similar situations where he was trying to do a lot to help the Air Force, and the Air Force was not on board with some of it. So kind of similar situations. They were both in PA. So he got out, and he was making a ton more money as a civilian, but he was also very connected. He understands how public affairs works. He knows who they partner with, how they partner with people. He was also on a demonstration team, I believe. So he got to travel all over the world, meet all different people in PA high up. He's very well connected within the PA atmosphere. I am not. I was never a part of that. And like Jody with a Y, Jody was a recruiter, and Jody was a recruiter instructor. So he was a tier 1 and a tier 2 recruiter. So Jody with a Y is very, very well connected with the recruiting. A lot of career fields will look out for themselves, stick out for themselves. I was maintenance. What I do now didn't really hook me up with any connections, any information about what I'm doing. I've kind of just always gone at it blind. I've never really had a big support circle or group. And so, yeah, like Jody's had a lot of support from within. He knows who to talk to. He has those connections professionally, and kind of hard circles to join from the outside in. And so like Jody's got, a good step with the recruiting aspect of it. And Sam Ekholm really well connected with public affairs. Obviously, public affairs and recruiting are the two biggest portions of essentially what Airman Vision does. But I am an outsider to both of those circles. And a lot of those circles do not exactly like outsiders. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that for now. So eventually the goal is to make this something that they can't deny. Yeah. So that's the next step. Yeah. I don't know why. And that's the weird thing about maintenance is people don't look out for each other in maintenance either. It was really weird. That was why I was I saw other career fields and people would build each other up. Maintenance, people just tear each other down. People just treat people I'm just okay, some people love that. They enjoy that. I don't know. I'm more of an emotional person. I'm trying to be everybody's friend. People would show up to a base and get picked on. And I would be one of the only people that would tell other people that's not cool. So what if you don't like the way they look, or you don't like the way they talk, or you don't like the way they act? I was one of the only people that would like stand up and talk for people that like got treated like shit when they first showed up. And it was really frustrating and annoying. And so like, it was just weird because I always tried to look out for people and like take care of people. And I did not get that. So it's just kind of weird. Like, and that's the thing is like I was maintenance. And so it's like, why isn't maintenance guy making videos? Why isn't public affairs making videos? Why isn't recruiting making videos? You aren't recruiting. You're not public affairs. You don't belong. So like, that's kind of what I just kind of went over is like, I just don't belong to those circles and I never will actually belong to those circles. I will always be viewed as an outsider that forced my way in. And it's like a good boy club. Like you're either in the club or you're not. Like I didn't go the traditional way of becoming public affairs or becoming recruiting. I took a way different path to that. And I had done a lot of things that the Air Force hasn't done that they should have been doing. But I will always be snubbed at for that because that wasn't my responsibility. That wasn't my job. That wasn't like, why am I doing that? Yeah. So that's just kind of that. But let me see, last one. I really enjoyed your content. It sucks that you keep getting the short end of the stick from the Air Force. You're literally an OG. Are you going to be making newer videos for each AFSC? Yes. So actually that's the plan for this year is to do this. This is the calendar. So tomorrow, air traffic control videos start to post. The next 4 days, each day, there's going to be like 3 videos that are dropping. So literally, when I say this channel is going to start bombarding people with Air Force job videos, I have gone through the Air Force catalogs of all the public domain stuff. And I am pulling the best videos that I can find. I'll show you the channel. So this is behind the scenes. Let's go here. So these are all the videos that are posting over the next, well, this is the 15th. So all these videos are posting between the 15th and the 4th of April. So, yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of videos coming your guys' way. And so, this is just the start. This is a 1-year plan, 1-year goal for me with this channel. So air traffic control is first, then loadmaster, then linguist, security forces, aerospace propulsion, aerospace medical service. Today I was researching cyber systems operations, and I was going to upload cyber systems operations has combined into cyber defense operations, and these are the shutouts. So all of these fall under this one AFSC right here, 1D7X1. So I'll be posting on, what days was it? April 5th and 6th, I'll be posting a video, at least one of each of these jobs, but they're all under the same AFSC. So, yeah, so that's where the next year is going to be a lot of hustle and grinding. So actually, if anybody is willing to, help out a little bit, if you want to help me for a little bit, sift through videos and find videos to upload and help get some videos uploaded to the YouTube channel, I would really appreciate it, because this is a lot of work. This is the whole year that I have planned out. So this is from April, starting in April, and we're going all the way to January. So I will be posting a video of every single job in the Air Force for enlisted between now and January. So it's a lot of videos that I need to go through from the Air Force's public affairs catalog. So if anybody wants to help, reach out to me, DM me. I would appreciate it. Because any help is going to be much appreciated. And then also, actually, if anybody's created in YouTube thumbnails, so for instance, these, making thumbnails similar to these. If anybody has skills to do that, I do not. I had paid somebody a while ago to do these when I had done these job interviews, because these are all videos that I've done, interviews of airmen that I've done. If anybody is skilled and could make these easily, for all the ones that I still need to, like in-flight refueling, flight engineer, emergency management, crypto linguist, I don't have thumbnails made for those. So that's another thing that I'm looking for help with. I will eventually get to it and do it myself if I can't. Click on that 2SOX1 video. Yeah, where was it? Right here. Let's see what this is. Hey, it's Jacob Disher. So actually, this is funny because this is Jacob Disher. Dude, you look like a little baby in this. So Jacob Disher in the chat, this is actually him right here. So when did you do this video? This was when I was straight out of the Air Force. I grew my beard out super long. This was 5 years ago, dude. Let me see. Thanks for all you do, said Chris. I appreciate that. Yeah, dude, that's wild. 5 years ago. Man, time flies. So, oh, Jenny said I could probably hook you up with some cool FE pics. One of the cool things about the public affairs stuff is it's all public domain because they don't own it. The government owns it, and the government, it's for the people. So it's all public domain, can be repurposed, reused for educational purposes. So that's what I'm doing on Airman Vision, is I am re-uploading them for educational purposes to help other people. And then kids ruin the baby face. Yeah, that'll happen when you have kids. But the pictures of different jobs, the Air Force does a pretty good job about taking dope pictures and pictures of different jobs. So I have an incredible catalog of videos that are of the different jobs and everything. So finding photos for the different jobs is not what I'm lacking right now. What I'm lacking is somebody that is creative that can create thumbnails like this, because I do not have photo editing skills. I am not a photo editor. So yeah, I am looking for somebody that can help with that, but that's not my top priority right now. But I appreciate all you guys jumping on the live stream. If you want to help Airman Vision, best thing that you can do is subscribe. Watch videos all the way through. That is a huge metric for YouTube. When you click on a video, you only watch 10 seconds of it. You click off of it, it tells YouTube nobody else really likes that. Jacob said hockey goal montage. Maybe on my Instagram. That's private. I think I'm friends with you on there, but I don't let many people see that page. So I just came back here. I literally just started playing with a new team on Sunday here in Cedar Rapids, and I scored in the first game that I played back here with the new team. So that was cool. But yeah, if you want to support Airman Vision, watching videos all the way through, one of the best metrics for YouTube as far as how they determine if they share the video with more people organically or not is if people are watching a higher percentage of the video, they will share it with more people. And same thing with reels. Like if you watch a reel 4 times, I don't know if you ever wondered this, why on Instagram and YouTube, like the shorts, people will make videos that make you read the long descriptions because it just keeps playing in the background. So then what it tells YouTube is, holy smokes, somebody watched this video 56 times. It must be really good. We should share it with other people. So that's how the views get racked up, is because people are making content that keeps somebody on it for a very long time. And that's why those videos, you see those more often than not, because YouTube is doing that. So I typically have not been the best about doing that because yeah, I just don't focus on making content like that. But the long form content, I've cared more about. That stuff, if you watch it all the way through. And then, yeah, so when you watch videos, just watch them all the way through. And that's not just a me thing. That's all YouTubers thing. So if there's a YouTuber you support out there, watch the videos all the way through. One of the best things that you can do for them when you do watch a video. It doesn't mean you have to watch every video. But when you do watch a video, if you watch all the way through, that's helpful. And then obviously like and share videos. And then another way, if you want to help out Airman Vision, the projects that I just talked about when it comes to thumbnails, needing thumbnails made, and then also helping comb through job videos and helping upload them would be massively helpful if somebody would want to help with that. There's another way that you can help Airman Vision. And then super thanks on specific videos, just like in a live stream, you can do a super chat, which is basically you pay for a comment in a live stream. You can do the same thing on videos. So if there's a specific video that you really like or you appreciated, doesn't just go for Airman Vision, this goes for all YouTube channels. If there's a specific video that you were like, wow, this was super helpful, I want to let them know that this was super helpful. That is one of the best ways that you can do that, because you are tipping essentially to that specific piece of content that was like, wow, I like this so much that I wanted to give you $2 for the effort that went into making that video. And then another thing obviously is to, buy products, so the BMT prep guide and the BMT fitness workout program. Those are on airmanvision.com. Also, the BMT prep guide is also available on amazon.com. So there's a physical book that you can buy as well. So those are the best ways to support. So yeah, I appreciate all you guys sticking around for, the years that you have. And the best thing that you can do for Airman Vision is to share it with people that are in the process of joining. I am still working on building this up to the vision that I have always had of making this, the most informational collective place for Air Force information for people that are joining. And so this year is going to be a huge step in that way. I personally feel like I've only done about 10% of what I want to do with this channel. This year is going to be moving that needle up to 30% or 40%. So a huge jump. In a year, I'll have accomplished more towards my goal than I have in the last 12 years with Airman Vision. So 2025 is kind of a year of grind and really trying to make this the most helpful and informational place for people in the process of joining. So yeah, I appreciate you guys helping out and supporting throughout the years. And if you know people joining, share Airman Vision with them too. So I will see you guys in a few weeks. I'll try to do another live stream and have somebody jump on here and talk. Jacob, you said you have 1 week left. We got to get you on to do a live stream once you're out. So yeah, I want to do like a monthly live stream and have somebody come in and chat and talk with you guys, whether that be a recruiter, somebody that was previously in, somebody that is in, and just go from there. So just continuing to build this up to be a really helpful place for people looking to join the Air Force. So thanks, and I will see you guys on the next stream.